A former drug addict is seeking a high of a different kind. South African entrepreneur Marco Broccardo has conquered the battle against drug abuse, and now he is attempting to conquer the 7 summits. These are the highest peaks on each of the 7 continents and include Mount Everest and Kilimanjaro. Broccardo will begin the challenge in a month's time, and he joins us now. Marco, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, McFarlane. Thanks for having me.
You know, I think the most important thing is to get an understanding of where you've been and what you've gone through. How was your first battle to overcome drug abuse?
I think that it was probably the most challenging thing I've ever faced in my life. Drug addiction is not something to be taken lightly, and I think, you know, the first mountain I've ever really had to overcome was that. I started my drug use relatively early. I was 14 years old, and by the time I was 19, thank God, I was recovered. But it was a long process, it was a tedious process, and then, you know, throughout that I probably destroyed a lot of people's lives. Yeah.
What did you do, and what did you actually go through during that period? Not only the period of the drug abuse, but also of the rehabilitation process. What are some of the things that that you had to endure?
I think from a drug point of view, obviously you end up in a lot of crazy circumstances, getting arrested, ending up in psychiatric institutions, suicide. That's sort of the regular, you know, happenings of a drug addict. From a recovery point of view, I went through many rehabilitation centres until I went to a place in the Karoo called No Put Christian Care Centre. It's a Christian-based program, and that's sort of where I found my recovery, because my recovery is based on the fact that it's not just me, you know, I'm not just doing it on my own, I do it through God's strength. So it's by the grace of God that I found recovery.
Now, do you believe you'll fully conquer your addiction by going through these 3 summits? I mean, you've gone through one battle. Now the next one is either Kilimanjaro and so on and so forth. Tell us about this. Why this sort of journey?
I think that a lot of people ask me, isn't it a lot easier to create awareness about drugs in other ways? And I think that, you know, I've been clean for 11 years now. This is my 11th year that I've been clean. And the reason why we chose the 7 summits was, you know, the mountains and obstacles that we face in each of our own lives are just that, they're obstacles, you know. And if we can surmount them and show people that no matter how big the challenge is in your life, you can overcome it, that's really what we want to try and do. So Kilimanjaro, Everest, Elbrus, you name it, are just physical representations of the challenges that we face every day as human beings. Yeah.
Which one is your first summit? Where you
Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro. Yeah. What sort of training did you have to go through, and you know, what did you have to endure? I'm sure there's a lot of physical toll that this must have taken on your body.
Yes, you've got to train. I mean, we train 6 days a week, so basically Monday to Saturday, and it's a lot of, you know, endurance training, stamina training, but there's a lot of psychological training that you need to do as well. I mean, the mountains, Kilimanjaro is a relatively easier mountain, but once you start getting to the Everest and, you know, the Aconcagua and even Denali, they're very challenging mentally. I mean, you've got to have the staying power, the stamina and the perseverance to be able to do it, you know, and that's where your family is important.
Someone sitting out there that's probably either taken drugs or abusing, or you know, hasn't come out of the cycle. You know, what sort of message would you like to send to them? You know, how do you convince someone to do what you've done?
I think that my most important message is hope. I mean, if I can do it, if I can be clean 11 years, anybody can do it. You know, so I'm not special, I'm not anybody different. I've just got the desire and the will to be clean. I believe that drug addiction can be beaten. I believe that you can be a recovered addict. You're not always in recovery. I mean, and that's really the message, is that there's hope out there. You know, find help, keep trying, don't give up. You know, there is hope for anybody. As long as you want it badly enough and you want to do it, you can do anything.
Well, I hope the right people are listening to your message, Marco.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, and we're going to be following you. You must tweet us, you must Facebook us, tell us you know what's going on. It's going to be quite interesting to see. Thank you very much. That is South African entrepreneur Marco Broccardo.
Judge Richard Goldstone has defended the international